Hello everybody, in today's topic I'll be covering the widely mixed or praised game known as Sonic Unleashed. This game has been through many ups and downs throughout the years, so today I'll be talking about the positives and the negatives. Moving all of that aside, let's just get started with the review. I just want to say this real quick. I am playing on the Xbox Series S and X versions, meaning that the frames won't be dropping at all, unlike the original 360 and PS3 versions of the game. So, oddly no 4K 60 FPS for the games. Even on Xbox Series X, I believe. I am on Series S, so I believe it's 1440p, but on Xbox Series S, no. I just want to say that real quick, so now we'll actually get started. Enough rambling. Alright, the story begins with an ongoing battle of Sonic and Eggman going at it. While everybody has sung their praises, this cinematic has aged like fine wine. Even though this is Super Sonic, he gets gaslighted by Eggman, then turns into this abomination. Now, I do want to talk about the Werehog's design. I think it's really solid. It does a great job of being a mix of a hedgehog and a werewolf. Sharp teeth, claws, shoes are all good. However, I do see why people aren't a big fan of it, but I don't really know another good alternative for his design. After all of that, Sonic dies. Anyway, we start the first day stage, Win Malaya Act 1. It's a tutorial stage, so we'll cut it some slack. Some boost, homing attack, tutorial for all that. Decent stage overall, it's a tutorial stage. However, it's stupidly difficult to get an S rank in this stage, and I got a B rank while I was recording the footage for this video. Anyways, we go to Apotos, which is actually based on Greece, and I'll do a quick rundown of what every location in the game is based on in the real world. Missouri is based on Mali, Alaska to Alaska, Spagonia to San Marino, Chunnan to China, Shamar to Jordan, Empire City to New York, and Arabat to Thailand. That was a lot to say. For our first day stage now is Windmill Isle 2, our first day stage. Really fantastic first stage. The music is amazing. The QT introduction is nice, very quick, making sure you keep your attention in the game, unlike future games in the series. It's time for the Werehog stage. Arguably the worst part about this game to many, but I'll make my own rundown of the Werehog's gameplay, so let us just get straight to it. The Werehog gameplay is a style of a beat 'em up, or a hack and slash if you will, more of a beat 'em up actually. Think on the Bayonetta series, or even the Devil May Cry series. Hell, even the Yakuza series. Back to the Werehog, I'm going straight to it. The matter music is really bad. I don't need to explain it. So obviously, you'll start to hate it. The actual song is fine, but it's overplayed to death. The stage music is actually really damn good, if you could actually listen to it. Now, the combat itself, I'm just gonna say, there's really nothing special to it. Like, no Witch Time, Double Trigger, hell, even Yakuza had different fighting styles, Rusher, Brawler, something like that. Sonic Unleashed, you're just mashing buttons. And there is depth to it, of course, but it leaves a bad taste in your mouth when you're first trying it out. Basically, not wanting you to keep going. And there are good gameplay videos out there of the Werehog. The Werehog can be fun, but it's just not for everyone. It's a very niche type of combat. Now, I will say the QTs can be fun, but they are ultimately really repetitive. Enemies take a while to kill. This would be fine if I was playing, hard mode. This is the regular game. I know you can upgrade your strength in combat, but you want to upgrade your health, especially in the late game, because you'll get comboed to death. Now, Frontiers combat, I'd rather do Unleashed than Frontiers combat. I'ma just throw that out there real quick. I don't mind the platforming. I think it's pretty damn good. It's not the worst platforming. There have been worse situations later in the game, but it's a pretty solid night stage. So I'll give it a 3 out of 5. So a decent, solid night stage. Now, before we get to the next area, which is... how did I forget? Missouri, right. Yeah, so we gotta do that, tornado minigame. And in short, it sucks. While I think it's a neat idea, it drags on for a long time. Good luck S ranking this. They suck, and I'll touch on the moon medals real quick, really holding you back in a way. Basically taking you out of the experience of the general game. The general game is fine. However, the moon medals will suck in your first playthrough. Post game, you're good. You can just play whatever day stage or night stage you want post game. Alright, so moving along to Missouri Night. It's not my favorite stage. Not a good stage I enjoy. Compared to Windmill Isle Night, you know, Savannah Citadel Night, not really for me. It's a bunch of platforming, bunch of puzzles, bunch of battles, which inherently isn't a bad thing. But like I said, the combat really isn't special to me in any way, like I said. So the battle theme, obviously usual. The music is not bad. So pretty much after rescuing Professor Pickle, he gives us a lore dump exposition of pretty much what's going on around the story, which is what we saw in the opening cutscene earlier. And real quick, I just want to touch on Chip. I think he's a fine character. I don't really hate him. He's alright. I mean, nothing to really write home about. He does get better in the later half of the story, which I'll touch on soon. It's a boss fight against Eggman, the Egg Beetle. It's a really good boss fight. Love the spectacle music and all. One of the better bosses of the series. Also love how the 2D shows how fast Sonic is, and you can feel it. Really good fight overall. And I briefly want to touch on, you know, this little clip of me, you know, actually destroying and mopping the floor with him, you know, gathering the footage for this video. It's time for Savannah Citadel Act 1. Really fun day stage. The music does fit with the environment. The only issue I really have with this stage is there's not really much 3D sections. Half of the stage is mostly 2D, especially at the end when, you know, climbing that tree. A lot of people don't like that tree. Believe me, I don't like it either. But overall, it's a pretty good stage, you know? What can I say? 4 out of 5. Better than Windmill Isle. Continuing the story, we head back to Spagonia at night, only to encounter Amy. Bitch slapped by Amy. Chip tries to cheer him up, but fails miserably. Well, it's another night stage, and I actually like it surprisingly. The music is great, platforming is nice, combat still sucks, but an overall really good stage so far. It showed that the Werehog can be fun to play in general. I'll give it a 4 out of 5. But before I continue, I just really want to say this. This game created one of the greatest game OSTs in history. Take a listen. So I know there's a camera feature in the game, but I never really used it, so I'm gonna skip over it because I only use it once and it's mandatory to progress the story, and never used it since, not even to 100% or any side quests or whatever. Next we got Halaska, and into the day stage dubbed Cool Edge. Again, pretty good stage, but don't like the ice skating parts. All you can do in 3D is move the left stick and jump in 2D. You only jump, but the rest is pretty good at least. So this is a decent stage, you know, some good, a little too much bad. But the good outweighs the bad, essentially, you know. So it's like decent, so 7 out of 10, or 3.5 out of 5, if you will. Hello, it's Editor Me here. I do want to throw out there that I like the Werehog now. I think he's not bad. He's alright. Definitely not the most fast, fluid combat like DMC5, Nier Automata, or Yakuza. But I do think he does have some fun. And it's a niche combat. So I do like the Werehog. So some of the script might be inaccurate, like Chun'an, which I'm about to talk about right now. Our next stage is Chun'an, where we do our next night stage. This stage sucks. The amount of battles is way too much, barely any platforming. The whole level is straight fights. The music is very nice, however you don't hear it in the game for obvious reasons. It's not a good stage overall. 1 out of 5. After that, we fight the boss, which is some big bird from Sesame Street. It's a decent boss with nothing to write home about. Throw water, beat his ass, then slam him. Which reminds me of when Sonic actually beat up Zavik in Forces, you know. Anyway, the Birdman calms down and we get the Chaos Emerald. Lest I forgot about the Chaos Emerald in Missouri. Oops, I guess. It's now finally time to play Rooftop Run. The only reason I bought this game, just to play the original version. Awesome and iconic stage overall. The only issue is that the laser quick-step segment drags on for a while. But other than that, fantastic through 3D and 2D segments. Also love the quick step part, really good stuff. This is damn near perfect stage, you know. Next is Dragon Road, also fantastic stage, also good stage, but everybody points out, you know, the platforming part sucks. You know, that's the only main issue with the stage. All again, 4 out of 5 in my book. Next we go to Halaska. It's a nice stage. Also wanted to point out how the game does a good job balancing the day and the night stages. It's a decent stage, decent amount of combat and platforming. Not a bad stage, but had it been a little shorter, it would have been a good night stage. so it's a decent, nice stage. Next up is a boss. It's not so interesting, so it's an alright boss. Now we recover the Spagonia and Halaska emeralds. So this is the halfway point of the game. We head over to Shamar and Pickles tells us to go to Empire City. Since we're in the halfway point, let's talk a little and catch our breath. So far, I think the game is good. It has its negatives, like the cast being kinda uninteresting, and I'm talking about Tails. Tails doesn't really do much other than telling us where to go. Amy is forgettable, as well as no Knuckles, well, which is odd. Other than that, I think the story is okay. The Dark Guy stuff isn't really memorable, even though we're halfway done with the game. I'm on my 9th page of the script, and I still have a long way to go. Alright, with all thoughts out of the way, let's get into Empire City Night. A pretty solid stage, good platforming, and a nice balance between battles and regular platformings. The music is really good as always, but a good stage overall. It's a 4 out of 5, not a bad solid night stage after all. Real quick, I do want to say that the night stages, they recently, this part of the game, were actually pretty good. And Empire City Night, as I said, it's a really fantastic stage, one of the best ones so far in the game, along with Rooftop Run Night. The music is also fantastic. Next is Shamar Day. I do want to cover this stage and Empire City side by side. This is because I believe the two are the hardest stages in the game. QTs are a lot faster and far more demanding than the past day stages. Both are fantastic stages and not much to hate about them. Both have fantastic music as well. Both, I'll put it as a 4 out of 5. Not only with the night stages becoming good in the later half of the game, the day stages have also been keeping up with how good they are. Every day stage so far has been good, with the exception of Halaska Day. Next we head over to Adbat, which I'll say straight up, this is where the Werehog at his best. Really great stage, the music is nice, the combat isn't as bad at this point of the game because you have your buffs, your abilities, and new combos by this point of the game, so the combat is a little more doable. The aesthetic is beautiful and environment is great. Love the platforming as well. The medals are placed in really good spots and are fair and all. By far the best Werehog stage in the whole game. Too bad there's no cutscenes whatsoever. There's nothing much happening in the story at this point of the game. Ever since Rooftop Run, there hasn't been much going on in the story. Anyway, moving along, let's head to Shamar Night. With me saying how Adbat was the best, Werehog's best stage, this is the exact opposite. We've had consistently good stages like Rooftop Run Night, Empire City Night, and now Adbat Night, which I said was the best Werehog stage, and I stand by it. This is about to get bad. More combat than the actual stage. It's a small stage, it's just puzzles like Legend of Zelda. The music is good as always, but a really bad stage again. Dragon Road had decent pacing. Still a bad stage, but it was something. Now in my playthrough you probably notice how many moon medals and sun medals I have. Of course you need these to unlock levels and progress the game and all. However, on my way to Adbat Daytime, where the next thing I see is that you need 37 sun medals. This is the final day stage, not including the next one, which is Eggman Land, and I still collected all 37 sun medals. So anyway, I'm not gonna show the footage of getting all the sun medals, so let's just dive right into Jungle Joyride. And I remember struggling in this stage a lot in the Generations mod. Unfortunately in here too, the beginning is fine, your quick step jumping and all. Once you get to the part where you pretty much have to hold the boost, otherwise you die underwater, after that is dealing with the unreliable drifting. Wasn't even that useful, to be honest. The rest is pretty much platforming and QTEs. I struggle so badly, I got a C rank. Yeah, but on the footage, you know, it's a far better run, of course. I can imagine Adbat being a really fun stage, but it's really difficult. Next is another tornado minigame. Nothing special happening. Almost forgot to mention how there was a boss in Adbat called the Egg Lantern. It's literally an egg beetle, but more difficult. Same boss, but more difficult basically. Fuck this boss. Really tedious and annoying. We have a character moment with Sonic and Chip being together, and I really like this cutscene, really setting the tone after we get the emerald. And yeah, I forgot about those. We have a really good cutscene moment, and I'll definitely let it play.
Millions of years? Yes, for ages and ages. I bet it's thanks to you. Even at night when I'm like this, I'm still myself, not like all the other people we've seen. You must have been protecting me this whole time. I haven't done anything, Sonic. You're the reason you haven't changed at all. You're too strong to lose yourself. I'm the reason? Yeah.
It's moments like these that make me like the story. Being serious with how things are, the world is pretty much falling apart at this point. And Chip wants to be courageous like Sonic, and it's a really beautifully made cutscene. I just wanted to throw that out there. Alright, let's just get on to the final part of the game. On to Eggman Land. I'm about to tear this stage to shreds. I'm going into full detail on how badly difficult this stage really is. This is the first time in any game where I just wanted to drop the game and never touch it again. The amount of bullshit I had to go through to complete this stage is crazy. It took me 50 minutes just to complete the stage by itself. And I got a B rank. What the fuck? But I'll try to be brief, okay? So now I'm calm. So let's just get straight into it. So you play as both the Werehog and Hedgehog. Switch frequently from going fast to shitty combat style. Like I said, editor's note, inaccurate skip, with a terrible camera, no lock-on system, mind you. Crazy for a beat 'em up or a game with, hack and slash and beat 'em up elements. Platforming is an overstatement. Also didn't mention this, but there is no iframes at all. So you can get jumped, and in boss arenas you have to mash A to recover from any damage. Also forgot to mention this. Since there is no iframes, like I said, so it's a pain to get up. There are some rooms where you have to break a wall to pull a lever and progress. Game does not tell you this actually. Like I said, the game is very big about it. I don't want to go on to a long tangent before I lose my sanity. Let's just head to the final act. So after all that, we head over to fight the Egg Dragoon. A really good boss fight, especially at the end, Would I consider this to be better than the Generations boss? Absolutely. The Generations boss wasn't bad, but I don't know. I just got bored of it, doing it all the time. However, what makes this boss so good for me, at least, is the context around it. Eggman actually got world domination. Well, he actually built and constructed Eggman Land, and Sonic wants to tear it all down. Pissed off, so he's going all in with Eggman Land. Also love how Sonic grinds on the wall, and it's such a cool detail. I wish there were more moments like that with the Werehog. Other than the Spider-Man swinging moment, that's really about it with the cool Werehog moments. I also love the QTEs, very fantastic. Button mashing A, X, Y, B. Xbox version constantly for about 12 to 16 times, I believe, and you're actually whooping Eggman's ass, which is such a cool detail. I wish more Sonic games showed details like these. With Eggman defeated, it's time for the home stretch of the game. It's time to fight Dark Gaia. Well, I'm getting straight to it. It's trash, very anticlimactic. All you ultimately do is boost, guard, I guess do QTs, mash a lot of QTEs, be supersonic briefly, and that's pretty much it. Also want to point out the sequences where Sonic is running around like Gaia, aka Chip, in the escape sequences, frantic and urgent. Really like how the tone of the story sets us up to be a very serious moment where nothing is a joke at this point. The world is at stake. Hopefully another game could do that properly. With the Colossus segment being boring, all you really do is just boost guard, which is delayed by the way, so it's mostly the game's fault, and you have to delay your timing by a second or time it earlier than usual if it was immediately timed. I just think that whole chasing the Dark Gaia segment was a very stupid part. That's just me though. Even the supersonic section wasn't really that fun. All you did was just walk around the sphere, fly around the sphere of Dark Gaia, just ramming into the tentacles, which sounds fun on paper, but you're just boosting through him. It drags on for quite some time. So to me, this final boss isn't really that good. Narratively, it's fantastic, but the gameplay is just not it for me. Just like Sonic Frontiers, this game also fumbled the bag harder with the ending. Supersonic transformation was beautiful, and the Egg Dragoon was a pretty good boss fight. What's with Sonic games and terrible final acts? Not the levels. In this case, yes though. However, despite all that, I was enjoying the story of Sonic Unleashed. It really isn't a bad story and all. I like that Sonic is a carefree at the beginning of the game, not having a clue as to what's happening around the world until he realizes, seriously knowing the gravity of the situation, saving the world as fast as he can. I do like the ending. It's not awful like Frontiers where Sonic forgets about Sage. Overall, I enjoyed this game and had lots of fun with it. For $15, it's worth it to experience. Unleashed, and I do say Sonic's best in his story and gameplay. Yes, even though Werehog has its positives, as I said in the editor's notes, this game has an 8 out of 10 for me. I had a great time. While the final act sucks, everything else was a good time. Wow, this was a long video. It's been a long recording session, and have a good one.